before we get into it today, we have actually got Dr. Andre back on the show today. Dr. Andre, it is great to have you on once again.
Well, great to be on the show and great to have Optimum Day and Night featured on the channel today.
Well, we've mentioned Optimum Day and Optimum Night already on this channel a lot recently, but for those of you at home who don't know about Optimum Day, can you let us know a bit more?
Inside the Optimum Day, you've got ingredients like berberine, and that's used for blood sugar support, and get this, it cuts cravings. Now, L-carnitine, that helps support your metabolism, and we use guarana and green tea in combination for that matcha-style energy and focus for hours. Now, there are other carefully selected ingredients designed to help optimize your day. But you know, for us, it's never been about quick fixes. Good health is about consistency. It's about long-term good habits, doing the right thing day after day, week after week, month after month. That really is the thinking behind the system.
And what about Optimum Night? What's the thinking behind that one?
Well, Optimum Night, that's focused more around recovery, sleep, relaxation, helping people stay consistent with their routine. Now, inside Optimum Night, you've got ingredients chosen for evening support and recovery, like magnesium for muscle relaxation. It's got ashwagandha. That's for unwinding and supporting relaxation, stress reduction. Remember, a good day starts with a good night's sleep. Ultimately, it takes a good night to have a good day. People often focus on daytime performance, but recovery matters so much as well.
And to be fair, we have had a lot of different testimonies from lots of different people. Robbie from AFTV has been using the supplements, not just losing the Champions League final, but also losing 80 pounds on his wellness journey. We've heard from Michael Owen. He's been using the supplements as well. He's lost 40 pounds on his journey. So different people getting different results, but all amazing stuff. And we really appreciate your support of the channel and also, more importantly, helping us promote a healthier lifestyle for football fans at home.
Absolutely. We're delighted to support the show.
Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Andre, for coming on today. And if you guys want to give it a go at home, the QR code is at the bottom of the screen right now. It's in the description as well. The discount code is WeAreTottenhamTV, 70% off your first order. Get yours today. First up, not actually a transfer. We're going to talk about Mohamed Kudus and his update on how he's progressing, coming back from his injury. And Matt Law did say that he expects that Kudus to be back for the start of the season. And if that is true, that is fantastic news, because there were some rumours saying he could miss, the first couple of months of the season, and that would have been a massive blow for us going into the season. So we need him back on that football pitch. We've missed him ever since going down with injury. He was like our whole team at one point. So to have him back for the start of the season, hopefully he'll be back for the majority of pre-season, I don't know. But he'll be back for the start of the season, which is major. Which is
very, very good news, because there was all of a sudden rumours that he was going to be out until later in the season. Not in the season, but later in the year, I would say. Some people saying October potentially, maybe even the new year. And there was all these slight rumours that this surgery is going to take a long time to heal. So the fact that Matt Law is pretty confident that he's going to be fit for the start of the season is really, really encouraging. Let's see if it's pre-season or not. Doesn't sound like there's any guarantees there, but I think the fear that he was going to be missing for a large chunk of the opening of the season, thankfully that seems to be a bit of a panic from a lot of fans who are suggesting that, and maybe it seems as though he should be all right quicker than some people are suggesting. We need him. We definitely need him. He's right now our best attacker on paper. We'll wait to see what kind of other signings we make. But right now he's our best attacker. And I think under De Zerbi, I think he's going to work wonders. And that was one of the biggest cruelties of when De Zerbi got appointed, and he got injured, I think, like the next day or something. And he was set to return for that Sunderland game. And then it came out that he got injured. I think he was in training because he returned too quickly. A few days before, and that was one of the things everyone was looking forward to. How was Kudus going to do under a more attacking system under De Zerbi? Because under Frank, as you say, we were like a one-man attack. He was being double, tripled up on every single game, and was asked to perform miracles to do anything for us to do anything in the front line. It was never sustainable, was it? So I'm very excited to see him in the new attacking system.
And as soon as De Zerbi came, he literally said how important Kudus is going to be for him. He was getting ready and getting excited to play him in that game, and then we just never saw him. So Yeah, massive plus that Kudus is going to be fit for the start of the season. Let's talk about this Romero situation. There's been some conflicting reports regarding Romero from quite good sources as well. First of all, Gaston Edul, who we know is a source that's quite close to the Romero camp, and he says that Manchester United want to buy Romero from Tottenham and are preparing an offer. Then Sam C, who's a very reliable Manchester United source, says that Man United aren't actively pursuing a centre-back at this stage of the transfer market amid rumours of a bid for Romero. And then the most reliable of them all, Simon Stone from the BBC, says that Man United have distanced themselves from reports of the interest in Romero, as they're not looking to add a central defender this window, where they're completely stacked in that area, he's suggesting. So what do you make out of this? Is this just kind of Romero's camp trying to drum up some interest and some offers in him?
That's exactly what I think it is. I think right now maybe they're kind of maybe they're surprised or frustrated with the lack of movement. With obviously Spurs are moving Van Hecke at the moment. That's pretty clear. There's not really been any kind of serious links or serious movement when it comes to Kuti, and it's obvious now that we want to sell him, that he wants to leave, that we want to part ways this summer, and maybe he's getting a bit of itchy fingers or whatever you want to say about the fact that there's not as much movement as he would like potentially this summer. I think maybe he would have thought at this point there'll be clubs already lined up, and maybe there isn't. So I think they're putting this story out there to try and get some traction, try and get people talking, try and get clubs thinking about going for him. And clearly it seems as though that it's not true, but as you say, these other reliable journalists are saying Man United aren't going for him, which, to be honest, I mean, considering their options there, you would have thought maybe they would go for him. It wouldn't be like totally crazy for a club like Man United to go for him. But they're distancing themselves from him at the moment. They're saying it's not true. They didn't have to do that. But they're saying now they distance themselves. So I think we know Gaston Edul is very close to Romero and his camp, and whenever Romero wants something said, he goes through Gaston Edul, doesn't he? And Gaston Edul will report something. So I think it's just them trying to create some traction in the window for him, where right now there clearly isn't as much movement as you'd like.
Yeah, I saw a report last night on Romero. I can't remember who it was from. It was Paul O'Keefe or George Banton, one of these guys. And they claimed that Tottenham will be looking for the same fee as we were looking for last summer, which I can't remember what that fee was. Was it about 70, 80 million or something like that?
I think it was about 70, yeah.
So,
65, I think.
I don't know if I see anyone putting down that money. I don't know what kind of club will put down that money for Romero. Because you're looking at Real Madrid. They've just got Konate through the door. You're looking at Barcelona. I mean, I saw a report on Barcelona today saying that they're struggling to pay for the remaining of the Camp Nou renovations. So I'm not sure if they're going to have the money to stump up.
But apparently they're bidding 100 million for Alvarez.
Yeah, God knows what's going on there. You're looking at the Premier League clubs. Out of all the Premier League clubs, maybe Liverpool. But I don't know if Liverpool are going to make a move for him. So, I mean, the options aren't exactly major. There are not a lot of options there for him.
Then obviously you've got Atletico Madrid as well.
I don't think Atletico go that. They only wanted to spend 30 million on him last summer.
Yeah, I don't think we get 65. I don't think we hold out for 65. I think we will be prepared to go lower. I reckon 50 to 55, I think would be acceptable in this current situation. The fact that he wants to go and we're willing to let him go as well, and the fact we're going for Van Hecke for a similar fee, that's what I think we're going to do, in my opinion. And especially off the back of he's had a bad window. Maybe we wait till after the World Cup. You got to remember he's had a bad season. He didn't get to play under De Zerbi because he got injured, and if he would have played those 7 games under De Zerbi, maybe people and we would be talking and thinking differently about him, but that never happened. So right now, the lingering feeling about Romero is he had a very poor season. Last few seasons as well, he hasn't played as much as he'd like. He's been suspended and injured for a lot of the season, so there are question marks about his availability now as well. So maybe right now, as things stand, the traction isn't as much, but let's say after the World Cup, if he has a very good World Cup for Argentina and has a great tournament, then I think people are talking about him again, and all of a sudden maybe some of the clubs who have doubts about him those doubts start to get alleviated again, and they're prepared to pay the money that's going to get him. So I do think we'll get a good fee for him. I don't think we're going to get what we were demanding last season. I don't think we're going to demand that. I think we're going to lower our price. That's my sense. And I think probably you'll see something like 55 million, I reckon, and I think you get the deal done.
How do you feel about him going to another Premier League team?
Don't like it. Hate it, to be honest. I hate it as much as I don't want to see Romero in another Premier League shirt. I also don't like the fact that potentially strengthening a potential rival as well is something I would not want to do. And also, I wouldn't want to see Romero, going to a Man United, getting invested in a project and playing at his best and thinking what could have been if it could have been for us. Whereas if he's in a different country, you'd have to think about it as much. So I don't like it. I wouldn't want to. I think there should be a bit of a premium if we're selling to a Premier League team. We shouldn't be. I think we should hold out for what we were demanding last year. If we sell to a Premier League team, I wouldn't go lower. But if it's a team from abroad, I think you'd probably lower the price a bit.
Would you prefer to sell abroad for cheaper than to the Premier League for premium?
Yeah.
For me, I don't really care, to be honest. I feel like Premier League teams, even top clubs, are selling to each other all the time these days. I feel like business is just business at the end of the day, and I think we should just sell to the highest bidder, get as much money as you can for him, and just move on. I mean, I'm not really fussed about if he goes to a Man United or a Liverpool or something like that.
I just look. It depends if you see them as potential rivals. If you don't, then fine. But if you do, especially down the line, then I wouldn't want to sell to them.
Yeah, but even from that aspect, I don't really care. You know what I mean? We want to get rid of him. You know, the club wants to get rid of him. So I don't really care where he goes to. I don't think it matters too much. You see, even like the big clubs, even rivals that are rivals with each other are selling to each other because they want to sell and that club wants to buy. Like, it's just about
not their
getting
best
the most
players
money.
though.
Not best players, but you look at like Cole Palmer, for example. Left Man City to go to Chelsea.
But it's a different situation.
Like, you've got other players like Arsenal and Chelsea always doing business with each other. You've got Liverpool. I swear, like Liverpool and Chelsea and Man United have all done business with each other. Not Liverpool and Man United, but with Chelsea.
Yeah, but not their best players.
Yeah, but he wants to go and we want him to go. So he's surplus to requirements at this stage.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to sell to a Premier League team.
But look, you're right. If he does go to another Premier League club, it has to be at premium for sure. But that's what I think. I'd prefer to sell to a Premier League club at a premium than to another team at a lesser cost.
I'm just different. I'd rather sell abroad.
If the price was the same, I would prefer to sell abroad as well.
What? How much extra? What if it's like 5 million?
Nah, no, I'm talking about a significant fee here.
10 million?
I think if we could get 70 million from a Premier League team, I think I would do it. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to 70 million from a team abroad.
Yeah, we're not.
Who's next? So next, we're going to talk about Van Hecke once again. Matt Law was on social media saying that some clubs pulled out of a deal for Jan-Paul Van Hecke due to Tottenham's interest and the player focusing on only joining Spurs. Matt Law says he's almost like De Zerbi's son. He's enthralled by De Zerbi. Some of the clubs who are interested in him have just backed away. They feel it's not worth trying to get him whilst De Zerbi is trying to get him. That's what we like to hear.
Hey, this is what I was saying yesterday. It's so great to hear a player that really wants to come to Tottenham and is invested in our project, and especially with De Zerbi at the helm. Clearly, it's a manager he really believes in. It's nice to know that those words he said in that Instagram post when De Zerbi left Brighton are not just empty words. They're clearly something he really felt, and it wasn't just something he said said in passing when a manager left. Like, he had really meant it. And it seems as though Van Hecke would rather come to a team like Tottenham over other teams who may be playing Champions League football because he really believes in De Zerbi that much. It's incredible. It's not often you get a player with such a close relationship and feeling towards a manager. That is the case. So that is really great to hear. And as you said, as the quote said, apparently Vuskovic, Van Hecke is like De Zerbi's son, apparently, according to him. So it just means he's willing to run through brick walls for him. He'll do whatever he says. He's going to listen to him to the letter, and he's going to follow him everywhere. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And to have a player of Van Hecke's quality like that is great. To feel that feeling towards our manager.
I guess the feeling wasn't the same with Thomas Frank and Brian Mbeumo.
Not quite.
But no, it's fantastic to hear. And even so, like stuff like this just put heaps more and more pressure on Brighton to get the deal done with Tottenham Hotspur.
All of a sudden, it makes Tottenham in a much stronger position, doesn't it, when it comes to negotiating? And I think whereas before you're like, okay, maybe just pay the money, but now you're like, if Van Hecke's saying no to everyone else, then maybe you can negotiate a bit and try and get some money off. If that's the case, maybe that's why it's taken a bit longer than after the report saying it's very, very advanced, but it's taking a bit of time. Maybe it's because Tottenham have a bit of negotiating power in this deal.
Exactly. I mean, I really hope a deal gets done sooner rather than later. He said that he wanted a deal done before the World Cup, but the clock is ticking on that. 2 days to go before the start of the World Cup. And Netherlands' first game is on Sunday, so a bit more maybe. Does he mean before the first Netherlands game or before the start of the World Cup? Who knows? But hopefully a deal can be done before then. Another winger that Spurs have been linked with is Jean Mateo Bahoya. A couple of links here. SNY saying that Tottenham have a firm interest in Frankfurt winger Jean Mateo Bahoya. Spurs are looking at other winger options as well. Bild state that Tottenham are particularly interested in Bahoya. Bild claim that he only met expectations at the start of last season and hasn't picked up his form since then, and that doesn't seem to have put off Roberto De Zerbi's side. Frankfurt, for their part, are expecting 35 to 40 million euros. Tottenham are particularly keen and can take advantage of Frankfurt's financial situation. It's an interesting one, Bahoya. A couple of times for France under-21s, their front three has been Bahoya, Tel and Odobert. So obviously a player that they know well, and maybe that can be reimagined in a Tottenham shirt. But, it's not too bad, going for the next generation of French players. They've got a conveyor belt of absolute unbelievable talent.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what that means for our winger options. Well, where do we see Savinho? Where do we see Bahoya if we sign them? Because he's more predominantly a left winger. Savinho can kind of play on both. You've got Tel there, you've got Kudus. I think for me, obviously, Bahoya is an exciting talent, very quick. Similar to a lot of our other wingers, needs a bit of work on the final product. Apparently, I was reading a few Frankfurt fans talk about him yesterday, and they were saying that when he's played in his right position, then he's actually really good, and actually his final product is actually pretty effective. But a lot of the time he's been played out of position and not played to his strengths, and that's when his form has suffered a bit more. So maybe there is, we've seen that, and maybe we're like, okay, this guy, when you play him, you use him correctly, he can be very effective, and maybe we can see a bit of value where other teams are not seeing it as much. As we've said before, if we are getting Savinho, you probably want someone a bit more established to come in alongside him. So getting Bahoya doesn't really represent that. And as we've also said, we have Tel and Odobert already at the club. So getting another young winger who is looking to really establish himself, there's a lot there. But he seems to be a very interesting and exciting talent. A lot of people seem to be very excited about him.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you like us to get him in?
It's hard to say. I'd rather go, if we're getting Savinho, I'd rather go for, again, I'd probably only go for one of Savinho Bahoya and then go for someone a bit more established. I wouldn't go for both of them.
I prefer Savinho over Bahoya.
Because we have Tel, we have Odobert, even Mike Keymore. We have a lot of young talent at the moment. Like, I don't know why we would want another 21-year-old unless we really believe this guy is special. And do we believe that? I don't know. No, there's nothing suggests he's that special right now, but maybe he's still 21, and maybe the scouting suggested this kid, there is something to him. Someone posted a comp of him yesterday. I was watching, and I was like, this really wasn't that impressive. I was like,
That's supposed to be like the best clip.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, he didn't take on his man hardly ever, and he was barely doing anything. But look, Frankfurt play a certain style of football. Maybe it's just he put him in a more attacking system. Maybe he'll grow.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched too much of him, but I remember when we came up against Frankfurt, and I remember being quite impressed by him, and he gave us quite a lot of problems on the day. So I don't know. Let's see how that one plays out. But he has been playing like men's football since he was 17. Since he broke into the team at Angers at 17, and then got his move to Frankfurt at 18, 19 years of age. So who knows? We'll see what happens with this one. But we've been linked with another winger as well, which we've actually spoken about in the last week, and that is Anan Kaleli. Seb Stafford-Bloor of The Athletic says that Tottenham, Bournemouth, Napoli and Newcastle are among the clubs that have expressed an interest in Anan Kaleli. Another young, up-and-coming winger, can be good in the future, but hasn't done that much of note as of yet in his career.
I've also read a lot about Kaleli as well. A lot of people suggesting he actually profiles a lot better as a right wing back than he does as a right winger, and he's one of these guys. He's a right footer, likes to play on the right, likes to go down the line. Isn't so much of doesn't really do it that much when he's on. He doesn't really play on the left as much. So I don't know. It sounds like not the right fit for me, this kid, to be honest, from what I read about him. Why would we want a player like that, who profiles more as a right wing back? I know he plays as a winger, but people are suggesting he performs better when he's a wing back. So I don't know. It doesn't sound like the best fit for me.
Could be one of these players that goes to Bournemouth, and then in 2 years' time or in a year's time, you're talking about him in a much different light, because Bournemouth rarely miss. That's the reality.
I'm not. Well, what's good for Bournemouth is not always good for us.
That's true. There's a couple more actually. Next, this is an odd one, and I don't believe it at all. But Spurs have been linked with Gleison Bremer once again.
Another old target.
Yeah, Tutto Sports say that Gleison Bremer is near the top of De Zerbi's list for centre-back targets. Juventus won 50 million, but Vicario could be used in a deal. I mean, this is absolute rubbish. There's no chance we bring in Van Hecke and Bremer.
No.
No chance at all.
It would only make sense if Van Hecke falls through and maybe he's on our list. I don't think we're getting Bremer. I don't think we're even in talks with him. I don't think we're interested in him right now. I think full focus right now is getting Van Hecke over the line. And once that's done, I think we're probably done with our business at centre-back. So I don't think this is realistic whatsoever. Yeah. Even if Vicario's involved in the deal, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's probably just, it is reports from Italy. It's probably just trying to drum up some interest in him again.
Yeah.
And last but not least, let's talk about Alex Scott. A bit of news doing the rounds on him. Fabrizio Romano says that a new contract proposal from Bournemouth to Alex Scott includes a possible release clause. The club did the same with Hyson, Ryan, Semenyo, and they want to replicate that model with Alex Scott. The release clause is expected to be around £75 million. Ben Jacobs says that he understands that Liverpool, Manchester United have Scott on their radar. Tottenham also hold an appreciation, but Bournemouth are doing their best to keep him for another year with that release clause at the end for next summer.
I mean, 80 million would be crazy right now. What has he got? As you said, he got a year left.
Yeah.
So no one's paying 80 million this summer. I mean, maybe it makes sense for Alex Scott have another year's development in Bournemouth, sign a deal with the release clause, and move on from there. I don't think maybe he wouldn't be against that. But if he wants to move this summer, he's got to force it through. Surely they don't hold out for 80 million and risk letting him go on free. Don't see that happening.
I think, if I was him, I would hold off on these transfer talks, because then he holds all the power. A 75 million layout for Alex Scott next summer is still a very significant, and only a few clubs are going to be able to meet that. So surely, from Alex Scott's perspective, whether he stays at Bournemouth or not, he's got to hold out, because then so many options come available to him.
Exactly. I think a lot of players are running down their contracts a lot more these days because they realise the power that they hold if they do that. So I think
He should not be having a bigger release clause than Semenyo.
no. He should get that release clause a bit lower, maybe 65, something like that. I
That
think
was Semenyo's release clause.
Yeah.
It should be lower than that even. I think like a fair price for Alex Scott is like 45, 50 million.
Yeah, but they're not going to let him go for that. They know he could be higher. Another good season, all of a sudden, that price goes up, doesn't it? And he had a brilliant season last season. So, yeah, right now, after one for a very good season, that's probably a fair price. But there's potentially a £70 million player there if he has another good season. So I can understand Bournemouth's reluctance. They want him to sign a deal so they can probably get a bit more money out of him. And also they want to keep him. Obviously, he's a great player. But Alex Scott, from his point of view, yeah, it depends. Do you want to move this summer? Are you desperate to get out of Bournemouth? They're in Europe next season. Could you do with that experience and sign a deal with a release clause and continue with development? Or do you believe you're now ready for the next step? I think he could make that next step. I think he would benefit a bit more just staying one more year and then making that move with the release clause rather than forcing it through this summer. That's what I would if I was advising him. But
yeah.
I mean, I would love him at Tottenham. I'd love him at Tottenham.
Yeah, I would as well, just because he's a Tottenham fan and he's a very good football player. So Spurs.
We ain't spending $8 million on him.
Nah, and I don't think we should. Like, if it's 80 million or nothing, then I wouldn't go close to Alex Scott for 80 million. That's crazy talk. Like, he should be half that with a year left in his deal. So there is no chance Bournemouth hold out for 80 million this summer if he's not signing a contract. No chance at all. You know, they'll sell him around that figure, 45 million.
This summer, you reckon? Do you reckon he goes?
I reckon he does go. I don't think he's going to sign this contract. I think he'd be mad to sign that contract.
Oh, they seem to, all these clubs seem to have a knack of getting their players to sign. If it's with the release clause, I wouldn't be shocked if he does.
Not that
increase wage. Yeah, we'll see what the release clause is. But if it's a release clause he's happy with, increase wage, stay for a year, I wouldn't be surprised if he signs.
What's that you got over there?
It's another from Loic Tanzi, the French journalist from L'Equipe. He says Tottenham have inquired about Lucas Chevalier in recent weeks, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might be true, it might not be, but I remember this Loic Tanzi got so much wrong last summer. Do you remember? He was bringing up links with Tottenham. Spurs have gone in for this guy, that guy.
He loves bringing, what's it called, Esteve to Spurs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He loves to bring that one up every so often, and it's never true.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. They call him a tier 1 source, but I don't even know if he's a tier 1 anymore. He used to be maybe back in the day. But it seems as though he gets more wrong than right these days.
Obviously, this is the PSG keeper who's obviously been ousted by, I don't even know his name, the guy who plays PSG, the number one for them now. So he started the season because they thought he was going to be...
They signed him for big money, didn't they?
Yeah, they signed him for big money. They thought he was going to be a top keeper. And he turned out, I think in the first game in the Super Cup, made that mistake against Romero and never really lived that down. And...
a bit harsh, one game.
I know, but it followed on from a few other mistakes after that, and then he got dropped. So I think looks like they'll be willing to sell. I think Tottenham clearly are going for more Prem proven. I don't think they're going to want this guy as number one. Clearly, with their current recruitment focus, I don't think they're going to go for someone who's not trusted in Liga at the moment. So I don't believe. Maybe they've inquired. I don't think we're seriously going for him. I'll be shocked.
Yeah. All right, well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today.